this is Annette with Sun to Shine Astrology and Tarot, and welcome again to another astrological event. This one is probably the biggest event. Other than our eclipses, this one is gonna rock the boat, guys. This is a game changer. This is officially the start, in my book, of the age of Aquarius. And it's going to change life as we know it. From this point on, the past is the past, and we can only move forward. There's no going back. So anything that you are holding on to, any mindset, antiquated way of thinking, any situation that you are trying to maintain that is comfortable for you, you're going to find will be redefined, and it will be progressed, and it will soon become unrecognizable. On December 21st, 2020, we are going to have an alignment between Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius in 0 degrees. Now, we haven't had an alignment in an air sign in 0 degrees in 200 years. So this has to do with expanding the mind, opening up the mind, ushering in brand new, innovative, and exciting ideas that will create a lot of progression in the things that we have been unable to progress in. And we're going to find that we're going to come up with new, innovative ways to solve problems. That technology is going to become innovative, and we're going to invent things that we didn't think were possible. We're going to have exciting new ideas about our workplaces, the technologies that involve our workplaces, but more importantly, the technologies that are around communication. And I think also the rules, laws, and regulations that govern all of those things, because as we invent these new technologies, we'll need specific guidelines and progressive laws to govern these new inventions. Understand that progression will happen. We can resist it. We can try to keep it the same. But as we have been awakened to and become conscious of, there are so many things that are obstacles in moving forward that we need to change. Rules, laws, regulations, people who have power over us, who have been abusing their power, things about us that we need to become empowered in and responsible for. We have been having all of these Capricorn conversations with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And remember, Pluto is still in Capricorn, still breaking it down, still dissolving things, still bringing about the consequence. Plutonian energy is the energy that destroys what no longer serves, and it is feisty. Saturn is karma. So Saturn is, you're karmically being held accountable for what you've done in this lifetime. And it's been in power and control issues, and the way that we distribute that power and control, and the way that if we have power and control over others, it's the power that we've taken away from others. So we've been having that karmic conversation, and we're going to see very powerful people have very intense consequences for their actions if they've been abusing power on a karmic level. It doesn't really have anything to do with us as an individual. I mean, that's their journey, that's their road, and it shouldn't be our focus, really, because we have our own life to figure out, and ways that we have not been responsible, the ways that we have not been able to get control, things we have not been able to get in control of in our own lives. We can see where we are vulnerable, where we have weaknesses, and where we need to strengthen these areas in our lives, because we can't have this happen again to us, right? We have to think progressively and move forward with these things. And it's been a very difficult time in our ego, because Chiron was in Aries and it was in retrograde, and then we had Mars in Aries, which was in retrograde. Both of those have moved direct now. And so now it's time to kick a little tail. Now it's time to move forward. It's time to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. It's time to conquer and be the warrior in your own life, and to move past all of the things that oppressed us and kept us down and created obstacles so that we couldn't empower our lives. We were stuck and it seemed like we couldn't progress and it seemed like there was no hope. But now we know there's hope. We see hope on the horizon. We had a beautiful solar eclipse that was on December 14th, ushering in some brand new energy with a new road ahead, a new destination ahead. A new path has been revealed, and now we're ushering in a new era. We are going to look back at 2020 as a pivotal time in our lives, as a pivotal time in history, and as a pivotal time in the way that we now see ourselves, more importantly, and our role is bigger than we thought, and that we have a bigger collective voice than we thought we did, and we have more power than we think we do, right? But right now, it feels everything has been destroyed. That was a comfort zone, and that's because our comfort zones were in really toxic places. We had created comfort zones in antiquated thinking and in our obstacles and in places where we lost power. We had a comfort zone there. I mean, how do we have a comfort zone in a place where we did not have power and control over it? But we did. And so now what we've learned is that we have to empower those areas. We have to progress. We have to move forward. And it's all up to us. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. And as we move forward with this progressive energy, the cool thing about this is what will be ushered in is new tools, techniques, technology, innovative ideas, inventions that will help this transition move along and become easier on our sweet little souls. Right now, it seems like a giant mountain we've got to climb, and it is. But we will also have this alignment. So Saturn is a planet that is usually pretty conservative, takes its time. It's those lifelong goals, those life lessons. It's usually the school of hard knocks. But if it's aligning with Jupiter, Jupiter is the fastest planet in the solar system. It's the most massive planet, but it's the fastest. So if you think of it like that, it speeds up what usually takes a long time to unveil, because Saturn is time, father time. So it's speeding it all up. And so we will have tools at our disposal that we didn't have before, and they will come in a very fast rate. They will come in, we will see a lot of people embracing these new mindsets because they're going to be opened up, internally. And so receptivity, you're going to see a lot more receptivity instead of I'm stuck, I think this way, this is the only way to think, and I'm just going to draw the line, and here's my boundary, and I'm not moving forward. Well, you do that, and you're going to be caught in the negative energy, the challenging energy, the energy that's going to make a lot of obstacles for your thinking. And you're going to see everybody else progressing forward and their lives moving forward and they're happy, but you're not happy because you're rigid and stuck, and you won't let go of your ego, and you won't let go of where your ego holds you back, because there's another side of your ego that wants to move forward and wants to play and progress and have happiness and all the good things. A lot of people try to take shortcuts and give the ego what it wants as quickly as it can, but that's an area where we also self-destruct because it's instantaneous. It doesn't sustain your ego a very long time. So what we're looking at, really progressive ideas that change things for the future, that benefit us in the long run. So I want you to think of future solutions, resolutions, ideas that will help not only yourself, but collectively help people. This is a very big time for humanitarian causes. This is to help out the planet. This is to help us save things that we have not been tending to. We haven't been progressing in areas that we would desperately need to. I was looking at the energy when this alignment happens, when this spark happens, and I'm only talking about the energy between Saturn and Jupiter in this alignment. So during this alignment, the energy that triggers it is Jupiter and Saturn are both in Aquarius in this alignment in 0 degrees, squaring off with Mars and Uranus. So Mars is in Aries, Uranus is in Taurus, which is in retrograde. And the positive energy is that it is sextiling Chiron in Aries, and well, the moon where I'm at is in Pisces, which that just represents the beginning and the ending in energy, because a moon in Pisces is cumulative. It's diving in deep into that subconscious mind. It is coming up with creative perspectives, possibly idealizing, and moving forward with hope. And then with it being so close to Chiron and Aries, there's this really beautiful vibe of accepting the way things are, and being loving and compassionate and moving forward and trying to do something good and hopeful and trying to be a compassionate and loving soul. I really loved seeing Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, because Aquarius is detached energy. It's the elevated mind, rational and logical. And so seeing it aspected in a sextile with energy that, yes, fires you up, because that would be the Chiron and Aries moving is direct now. It went direct on the 15th of December. And it feels so hopeful to me, like we're gonna persevere. We're gonna be able to move past this. We're gonna be creative in our solutions and resolutions. And I think more importantly, what I see is just the word hope. I think hope has been lost to us, and hopelessness is such a scary, scary energy as a human being, because if we lose hope, then we lose our way. And I think we've seen a lot of people lose their way. And it has been difficult to watch the extremes of what happens to somebody who loses their way, right? Now, Earth energy has been angry, and it has been dealing us a hand of humility. And it has humbled us in such a way that we understand that we are an actual human being, that we're not some God in our world. Like, we are a human being with human needs and human responses, human desires, and we can succumb to the human plight, the human condition, and the things that weaken the human body. So moving forward with that kind of energy, we have to understand that what this all defined, what it identified, what it highlighted was the fact that when our egos get so massive and so out of control that it starts to oppress others, and it starts to take from others because it feels like it's more deserving, when our egos feel like we're the most important thing, just us looking through our own perspective, we get stuck. We lose our way, and we can't do anything beneficial in that headspace. And I think it's been a very tough year. It's been a year of realizations. It's been a mentally draining year, a mentally overwhelming year. And you're seeing a lot of people that moving forward are going to have some very intense mental disorders and diseases that were triggered in this energy. So we're going to have to be loving and compassionate with people. We have to realize that people are all on their own journeys, and that it is easy for us to look at people and identify them as good or bad, right? Because that's what we've been doing with Mars and Aries and Chiron and Aries, is we stick a label on somebody. They're good, they're bad, they're black, they're white, they're they're a specific religion, or they're a specific culture, or they're a specific lower class of people, or they're elevated class of people, or they're somebody that we should idealize, something that dictate over us. We stick all these labels on things. And I think one of the most fascinating conversations, if you can kind of pull yourself out of course, all the emotion behind this, those labels are fluid. In fact, if you really dissect the label that our gender labels, our pronouns, our whatever we deem a person, we look at a person, we stick a label on it. I think what we've understood is that we can't look at anybody anymore and stick a label on them and identify them by a label. This is a super cool conversation, but it's also a very unsettling conversation. And so I feel like the square that we're experiencing, that we have been experiencing with Uranus and Taurus, which has been in retrograde, and then we have this Mars and Aries energy, is we're so hung up on that mindset, that perspective. If we can't identify it in the way that we've always identified it, if we can't recognize it, or if it doesn't fit into our perspective, if other people don't see things the same way that we do, we label them as wrong, or we label them as somehow lower than us or somehow less than us. It's very weird. I didn't really think about labeling and the way that we identify things, but thanks to Chiron and Aries, and thanks to Mars and Aries, what I've now figured out, and I'm just blessed to have been kind of woke up in this area, in my personal life, is that I judged people based on those labels. We stick a label on somebody, we call them a narcissist, let's say. Yeah, I mean, it may be a label that we can stick on somebody to clinically diagnose them, and so we can understand and categorize their behavior. But what I think is even more fascinating about this, if you're talking on the Aquarian angle, because we're moving into the age of Aquarius, so we're moving past that rigid thinking. I feel like why we do that is because it makes us feel like we can predict them. It makes us feel comfortable to label something, right? And I think we need to go outside of that way of thinking, and we've been pushed. I mean, we've been just absolutely pushed off the deep end. And just about every label that we've ever created has been challenged by our cute little millennials. So I feel like we just need to stop doing that. We have to open up our mind to what's coming, and we have to be receptive. And we have to look at things from different angles. And so to be in the sextile, right? This beautiful sextile at the beginning of this energy, as we are moving through this massive transit, and this moment that hasn't happened in 200 years is happening to us, right? I feel ultimately what it challenges is every weakness we think we have, it's actually not a weakness. It's what makes us unique. It's what makes us different. It's what makes us stand out. It's what defines us in some way. It's where we're the strongest because we fight that weakness. We work with that weakness our whole lives. And for so many people that have been labeled and stamped as less than, what's less than about you is actually one of the most beautiful qualities about you. And embrace it. Move forward with it. Don't be afraid of it and work with it, because that's actually where you're going to create success. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching. Much love to all of you. Guys, this is a time where I can't say this enough. Just go out there and be the change you guys want to see in the world. And let's start a revolution to change the world for the better.